So what is next for the Nittany Lions? Well, you got an offensive coordinator search that you gotta get moving on pretty quickly here. You have the New Year's Six Bowl that you got to prepare for. You also got to think about life after some of these players end up moving on to graduating or pro football. You're going to have some opt outs here going into the bowl game, but we'll start with the offensive coordinator search. James Franklin said he's going to be on some Zoom calls interviewing coordinators for the spot, and they're going to work quickly. And James Franklin highlighted what he wants to do here. He said that he wants to get somebody in the fold like Manny Diaz was going into the 2022 season. He wants to get them in here now as quickly as possible. So they're going to vet, they're going to interview, they're going to move quickly through this stage and try to hire someone. Not they're not going to rush it, but I think they're going to move pretty efficiently here to try to get them, like they said, in before the bowl game. Now that I think more about it, I really do think that Joe Morehead is a realistic candidate more so than meets the eye. Akron, I don't know how I know it's a stable job from they're not going to fire him. Joe Morehead's a very good football coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to build a program. He's been successful, not necessarily at Mississippi State, but successful at Fordham, successful at Penn State, successful in 2 years at Oregon, head coach, offensive coordinator, and he was doing pretty well at Mississippi State, other than the fact of, okay, well, he's not going 10-2, but he's winning egg bowls. He's getting you to bowl games, and he was on the right foot, but they kind of ran him out of town, it seems like. But Akron, from a program standpoint, isn't exactly stable, I would say. How much is staying at Akron, being a head coach, finishing 2-10, helping your resume? How is that helping you get a bigger, because we know that his ultimate goal is to get back to the Power 5 conferences and be a head coach there. How is not being successful at Akron helping out that case? Can he, I know it's only been 2 years and they've made a little bit of progress, a little bit, but can he actually win and rebuild an Akron program that just hasn't seen any success, honestly, in the past 20 years? Maybe 2 years is too soon to judge in this case, but I gotta think of all the benefits here between familiarity with Happy Valley, James Franklin, the Penn State program, how he wants to run it, still close to home. State College is not, a lot of his family is in the Pittsburgh area. Akron's not that far from Pittsburgh. Neither is State College. And Joe Moorhead recruits the state of Pennsylvania well when he needs to. And he's also going to get more money this time around. Like I said, it checks a lot of boxes here and it makes sense. But does he want to do that? Because he is giving up another head coaching spot to come to Penn State. Does he want to do that? Well, more money might help him make his mind up, right? It would be more than the Akron head coaching job, because according to reports from 2022, $500,000. He was making more at Oregon as the offensive coordinator, but he was further away from home. So we know what Joe Moorhead values in this case. Like I said, it checks off a lot of boxes. I know that the offense would benefit significantly from having him. And well, he doesn't have a running quarterback, or he would have to start Bo Previola. No, 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 no. Drew Aller, he would be able to adapt his system so that Drew Aller could benefit from him and his offense, and Joe Moorhead could benefit from having Drew Aller as his quarterback. It's not going to try to force Drew Aller into an offensive system, because that's bad coaching. That's bad coaching. You don't do that. And Joe Moorhead certainly wouldn't do that. But just as I think about it, Moorhead makes a lot of sense, and I could see it actually happening. We'll see. We'll ultimately see. There's going to be a lot of candidates, but I really do think that this one makes a lot of sense when you look at it closely. On to the New Year's Six Bowl. It's guaranteed. It is. You're wasting your time, because I've seen this in my comment section now. You're wasting your time if you say that Penn State doesn't deserve a New Year's Six Bowl, or the committee, they're not going to get one. Both of those things are wrong. Your opinion's wrong saying that Penn State doesn't deserve one, or the fact that you think that they're not going to get into one because they only beat Iowa as a ranked team. You can only beat who's on your schedule. That's the first part. The second part is, again, Penn State didn't have any bad losses. They lost by 8 on the road in Columbus against a playoff team in Ohio State. And then Michigan at home by 9. who, and again, another player, another playoff team, right? College football playoff contender, both of those teams. And you lost by single digits. You weren't blown out in this case. But the committees for any of those New Year's Six bowls would be stupid. They would be stupid if they did not pick up Penn State in this case because of the market, because of the ticket sales. How many Penn State fans would go to the game itself? Penn State fans are well traveled, and it would create a high profile matchup. They know what they're doing. They're not going to sit back and say, well, they only beat the only top 25 team they beat was Iowa, so we're going to pass on them. Penn State's a top 10 team. I have no idea why we're having this debate, but I think people are just trying to maybe grind the gears, maybe get under people's skin with this one. It's not going to work, but I'm just trying to make a point here that they're going to get into a New Year's Six bowl game. It's just a matter of which. I personally think the Peach Bowl, because the Cotton Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl have taken Penn State in the past 5 years. The Peach Bowl has never taken Penn State, and it would make a lot of sense, like the lead executive of that bowl committee said so. So they're going to wind up in the Peach Bowl. And the college football experts that said, "I'll take Michigan State to cover, even take them to win because Penn State's overrated." Penn State is not overrated. I'm going to steal this one again from Josh Pate. They are properly rated. They are a top 10 team. They are. They have an elite defense with an offense that missed out on what it could have been. But they are perfectly rated as they are. A top 10 team. They're a very good 10-2 team. And an expanded college football playoff will give them that opportunity to say, okay, they made a couple mistakes in the season, but how good are they really? And that's what I hope the bowl game does. As for the opt-outs, who's going to play? A lot of players are going to play in this one because what Nicholas Singleton's not going to opt out because he's coming back. Drew Aller, Katron Allen, right? Why would any of those guys opt out? Dante Cephas, Keandre Lambert-Smith, if they had any plans to go to the NFL, their stocks aren't exactly as high as they should be, so that's a game that they need to play in. But here are all the potential players that I could see opting out in this bowl game. Olu Fashanu, Theo Johnson, Adisa Isaac, Chop Robinson, Curtis Jacobs, and Kalen King. Everybody else should be playing. They should. There is no reason they take that game off. It's the bowl game should now be looked at as the start to the 2024 season. So since those guys are probably going to get drafted pretty early in the 2024 NFL draft and are not going to be a part of the team next season, I don't expect them to play. Yeah, Theo Johnson is a day 2 pick. Olu Fashanu is a top 10 pick, maybe even a top 5 pick. I already gave my case about Adisa Isaac and Chop Robinson. Curtis Jacobs was described by an NFL scout as one of the top 5 linebackers, period, in next year's draft. And then Kalen King, no, he's not a first rounder anymore, but if he's a second or third round pick, probably not going to play in the bowl game for anything, right? I would like to see all those guys play, but I don't know for sure what they would do. Saquon Barkley decided to play in the game and ended up becoming the second overall pick by the New York Giants. But we've seen that some players aren't as lucky. They play in that bowl game. They sustain some injuries. And James Franklin is one of the first people to not he doesn't exactly convince them to go to the NFL draft, but he backs them up and supports their decision and even encourages them to go if they have the opportunity to be a high selection.